Hey everybody, this is my 125 gallon tank, and I just wanted to take a minute to point out how incredibly effective my Siamese Algae Eaters have been at removing the filamentous hair algae that I had all over this tank. Now, I looked around this morning to try to find an older video clip that I could attach to this video so you could get a little bit of a before and after look, but I just could not find a suitable clip that I was able to use. And so my regular viewers may remember, anybody else is simply going to have to take my word for it, but trust me when I say that I had the stringy filamentous hair algae all over this tank. It was flowing off of my Java fern here like streamers in the wind. I had so much of that stringy hair algae in here. I put a couple of these little Siamese Algae Eaters in there. There's one closer to the bottom, and then you can see the other one sitting right there on top of that lotus leaf. There's the other one in the back of the tank now. So these are about mid-size. They get maybe 5 to 6 inches. They're fairly shark shaped. So I did have a little bit of an issue initially with my rainbow shark that I have in this tank. Was none too happy about having other shark-shaped fish in the tank. But over time, they sorted their issues out. The rainbow shark made itself known as the boss. You can see its tail. It's kind of hiding back there behind my power head at the moment. And while the rainbow shark is an algae-eating fish, and it will nibble algae in the same way that guppies and platies and mollies will nibble algae, the Siamese Algae Eaters are just worth their weight in gold when it comes to eating the filamentous algae, the hair algae, that long stringy stuff. Sometimes it's called Maiden's Tresses. It's actually a beautiful algae, it really is. But once it starts getting a little bit out of control, it starts growing into like thick mats, and you get that scummy, gross looking stuff on the surface. It can get really nasty if you let that hair algae get out of control, and there are very, very few fish that will eat it. And again, in my experience, these little Siamese Algae Eaters are just the bee's knees when it comes to removing that filamentous hair algae. I believe it is known as Spirogyra, or at least that is one species of filamentous hair algae. I always believed that the Spirogyra was the species I had in my tank. Now, you've got to be careful when you're buying these. There are other fish out there that looked very similar. Most notably is the flying fox. And while the flying fox will do a decent job at eating algae, the flying fox are about as effective as the rainbow shark or mollies or guppies. Again, they're effective algae eaters, but they're nothing like these Siamese Algae Eaters. The Siamese Algae Eaters are just amazing. They will clean a tank up like nobody's business. I have them in 3 or 4 of my tanks now, just because that hair algae pops up and there doesn't really seem to be anything I can do about it. The water changing and the cleaning the tank and the reducing the nutrients, reducing the light, none of that stuff has ever really had an impact on the hair algae once it gets in my tanks. And I've never found an animal that would get in there that would really work away at it until I tried these Siamese Algae Eaters, and I've never looked back. Again, just worth their weight in gold when it comes to removing that filamentous hair algae. So that's it. That was the whole point of this video. I just wanted to shout the praises of my Siamese Algae Eaters. I really, really highly recommend them to anybody that's having any kind of algae problem in the tank. And if you're looking for a natural solution, or if you're looking for a specific fish that will be a good algae eating cleanup fish, those Siamese Algae Eaters are hard to beat. Now again, they're not the sucker style fish. They're not a scraping type fish like the Chinese Algae Eater, or like a pleco or rubber lip or something like that that actually will scrape the offwalks off the surface. I think of those as offwalks grazers as opposed to algae eaters. An algae eater is going to nibble the algae off the surface of stuff the way a molly or a guppy or even a gourami would be a decent algae eating fish. But the Siamese Algae Eaters are just the top of the list, the bee's knees, the cat's pajamas, or the mutt's nuts if you prefer. They are the best. So there you go, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure you're subscribed, and don't forget this one here, of course, is my 125 gallon tank. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you real soon on the next one.